Hey all, today I want to talk about a few tools that you can use to put some space or distance between you and your negative, critical body thoughts. So most people who struggle with body image have a sort of ongoing ticker of criticisms that they experience, maybe about their body and how it looks, maybe it's about their clothing and how it fits, maybe it's about their choices in food or exercise. A lot of shoulds or shouldn'ts and a lot of just negative, nasty, judgmental, mean kind of thoughts going through their heads all the time about body stuff. So one of the things that clients will come to tell me a lot of times is that they can't figure out how to stop those thoughts. They try so hard to use willpower and just stop those thoughts from happening. But it doesn't work. That's not how we work. So instead of trying to stop those thoughts altogether, I teach a method of putting some distance between yourself and those thoughts so that you have a moment to pause, you have some space, you have time to take a breath and really think about whether or not those thoughts are true, because most of them are not. A lot of those thoughts are just habitual and they're not real, they're not true, but you get really, really wrapped up in the roller coaster of them when you believe they're true and there's no space between you and them, and it's like, I'm just saying mean things to myself all day. It's really exhausting and you get really lost in that roller coaster emotionally a lot. So one of the first tools I'll teach clients is to put some space between yourself and those thoughts. And basically what that means is start adopting a more neutral relationship to those thoughts. So this is body neutrality, right? Your body doesn't mean anything about you, but neither do your thoughts about your body necessarily mean anything about you. They certainly don't mean that you need to do anything or change anything. Maybe you have a mean thought about how you look. You don't have to go diet. You don't have to go change your outfit. You don't have to do anything. You can just notice that you have a mean thought about how you look today. That relationship has to be neutral in order to actually adopt body neutrality. So body neutrality is not just about the physical, it's also about the mental and emotional. So if you've ever tried to stop these thoughts, you already know it doesn't work. This is one of the reasons that I think a lot of mantras don't work for people, positive mantras like, I look beautiful today. It doesn't work because you're trying to stop the thought that says, I look horrible today. And that just, it makes you feel like you're lying. It doesn't work. So instead, I encourage my clients to take a pause, notice that you're having a mean or judgmental thought about your body, take a breath, and just watch it. Just observe that thought. And put some space between you and that thought as much as possible using the 3 tools I'm going to give you in a minute so that you can not feel like you're wrapped up in it and have to do something about it or believe that it's true. Instead, it can just be watching your brain do a bunch of really interesting gymnastics and say a bunch of mean stuff that it learned somewhere. That's it. That's all you're doing. That's watching your thoughts. That is thought neutrality when it comes to your body. And it's a super important step in the process towards body neutrality, because until you are able to approach this with neutrality, you're always going to judge yourself for judging yourself. You're always going to feel shame and guilt every time you have a negative body thought. You'll say, I knew it, I'm failing at body positivity, I'm failing at feminism, I'm failing to love myself, and so now not only am I failing to look the way I want to look, I'm also failing on this other level, and that just leads to feeling worse about yourself, and it's not the direction to go. I promise you, the better direction is to just observe, put some space between you and those thoughts, and let your brain do a bunch of weird things, and just watch it. So, one practice that I encourage my clients to try is to tap into being the watcher. In terms of watching your thoughts. This is a concept I got from Eckhart Tolle. It's from the mindfulness meditation movement. Pick and choose, that he's not for me, that movement isn't necessarily for me, but this tool is incredibly powerful. So do what you like, but I find it really helpful, and I find a lot of my clients respond really well to noticing the fact that you are not your thoughts. And the way we can prove that is because you can watch your thoughts. So if you have a mean thought that says like, ugh, I look gross today, you can notice that you had that thought and watch that thought unfold. So who's watching it? You are. You are the watcher of your own thoughts, right? Which means that you're not your thoughts. So that automatically starts to put a little bit of distance between you and those thoughts. Just tap into the place that is able to observe your thoughts and watch them from there. And practice number 2 is to visualize those thoughts on a small TV screen that is kind of far away from you. So this one is for people who are really visual. It won't work for everyone. Pick and choose the tools that you like. But if you have a mean thought that says, ugh, I look so gross today, you can notice that you had that negative thought. Imagine that thought being flattened out onto a TV screen that is small and far away. And now you can watch yourself have the thought from across the room on this mental TV screen saying that you look really gross today. And it automatically gives you that sense of separation in your own mind. It should bring a feeling of relief to your body. You should relax a little bit, like, oh, okay, well, now it's not quite so close to me. Now it's a little further away. It's flatter. It's only two-dimensional. It's on this TV screen. It also immediately signals to you that you don't have to believe your thoughts. They're just stories. They're nonsensical stories, which is literally what all of your body criticisms are. So you can just put them on a TV screen, watch them from there. So next time you notice in the mirror or in a photo, you're like, ugh, you're criticizing something, immediately try to place those thoughts on a TV screen far away from you in a mental room. The third tool is to imagine this voice, this critical voice or the critical thoughts, like a tantruming child. And this is actually kind of perfect because for a lot of us, these thoughts really come from an inner child place, a wounded inner child place. But if you imagine a tantruming child, you wouldn't necessarily try to just stop that kid from tantruming, right? And you wouldn't shame them from tantruming, hopefully, in an ideal world anyway. You'd be like, wow, what's going on with you? You would watch and you would witness from a compassionate distance. You might be curious about what was going on, but you wouldn't play into the tantrum story. Let's say the story is like, I want candy and I can't have it. You wouldn't be like, whoa, what's the situation about candy? We should really dive into this. How can we get you some candy? You would probably, from your most compassionate adult self place, really just sit with that kid's pain because they want candy and they can't have it, and that's sad. They feel sad. And you would love them from a distance as they work out their feelings, and you would just bear witness. So that is what's going on in your own mind. There is a tantruming child every time you have a negative body thought. So let's say you look gross today, or I look gross today, however it shows up in your mind. You can visualize that voice coming out of the mouth of a screaming, tantruming child, your inner child or any inner child, and really just separate yourself from it and sit with it with the compassionate, curious, patient, best adult version of yourself who just wants to bear witness and say, I can see you're in pain and I'm here and I don't know what you need right now, but I'm sitting and I'm willing to wait and listen. So that can be a really helpful tool as well. And all three of these tools will just help you place space and distance between yourself and those thoughts. It'll make it feel a little bit further away, a little bit less powerful, a little bit less loud, so that you now have a moment to decide, how do I feel about this? Is this a real thought that I believe still, or is this just some old programming that is still running in a loop on my brain? Maybe you can get curious and explore, why is this showing up right now? This is the work I do with my clients. Once there is space, we get to do some really interesting exploring. Why is this voice showing up right now? What is this criticism really about? Where does it come from? Who benefits from it? How old is it? This is where you get to do the unpacking work that really leads you to body neutrality. But it cannot happen if you're still stuck trying to stop criticizing yourself and stop having negative body thoughts. You have to place that space, that distance, that time, and then use that space and distance and time to approach it a different way, to come in and explore it from a different angle. So use these tools. Let me know which one resonates with you. Share in the comments if you have your own tools for coming up with space and distance. And if you want to try them and let me know how it goes, we can talk about it in the comments. That's it.